I never thought I'd smile while watching my family's Christmas tree burn to the ground. But there I was, hidden in the TREELINE, the flames licking the night sky like a devil's tongue, and the sirens in the distance were the sweetest carol I'd ever heard. My mother screamed my name into the phone. "Eden, where are you? The house is on fire," as if I'd magically appear to save them, after 29 years of forgetting mine. And in that moment, with $11 million burning a hole in my anonymous offshore account, I whispered to the wind, "Merry fucking Christmas, you bastards." It started, like all good American nightmares, in the glow of a Midwestern suburb that looked perfect from the outside, manicured lawns in Elmwood Heights, Ohio, where the houses wore white picket fences like false halos and every driveway boasted a Ford F-150 with a magnetic ribbon for some forgotten war. My parents, Richard and Linda Hargrove, were the king and queen of that facade. Dad, a mid-level exec at a dying auto parts supplier, always in his khakis and polo, preaching bootstrap sermons at the Rotary Club. Mom, a part-time realtor with a smile sharp enough to cut glass, volunteering at the church bake sales while whispering gossip about the neighbors' lifestyle choices. They had 2 kids, me, Eden, the quiet one with the wild curls and a habit of vanishing into books, and my brother, Tyler, the golden boy with the quarterback arm and the easy grin that got him into Ohio State on a partial ride. But every Christmas, from the time I was 6, they forgot me. Not in some abstract, Hallmark movie way, no. It was literal. They'd pack up the minivan with Tyler's new snowboard or his latest video game console, the turkey wrapped in foil, and drive off to Grandma's in Cleveland without a backward glance. I'd wake up to an empty house, the stockings limp and sad by the chimney, and spend the day huddled under a quilt with microwave popcorn and whatever rerun of It's a Wonderful Life was on TCM. The first time, I called them sobbing. Dad laughed it off as one of those mix-ups, promising to make it up with a gift card. By the 10th, I stopped calling. It became our family joke, the one Tyler retold at Thanksgiving with a wink. "Remember when we left Eden behind?" Classic. Mom would pat my hand, eyes misty, and say, "Oh, honey, you were always so independent." Independent. Yeah, that's code for invisible. I covered for them, though. Always did. Like the time in high school when Dad's business trip to Vegas turned into a gambling binge that wiped out the mortgage payment. I forged the bank statements, told the lenders it was a clerical error, and worked double shifts at the diner to scrape together the shortfall. Or when Mom's charity fundraiser was really a pyramid scheme that bilked half the PDA, I was the one who anonymously donated from my savings to pay back the widows, keeping her name clean. Tyler? He was too busy chasing tail and touchdowns to notice, let alone help. But blood's thicker than water, right? Or so I thought. The inheritance hit like a freight train on Black Friday, 3 days before that fateful Christmas Eve. Great-Uncle Harlan, the black sheep of the Hargrove clan, a reclusive oil wildcatter who'd struck it big in the Permian Basin back in the 80s and vanished into a compound in New Mexico, croaked at 92, leaving no will beyond a notarized letter to his lawyer. The lawyer, a grizzled ex-Marine named Gus with a voice like gravel, tracked me down via a PI because, as he put it, Harlan said you were the only one with balls in that godforsaken family. Turns out, Uncle Harlan had been watching from afar, piecing together the neglect through postcards I sent as a kid and whispers from mutual cousins. He'd earmarked his fortune, $11.2 million after taxes, for me alone. With one caveat: keep it secret. Let 'em stew in their own shit, Harlan scrawled in the margins. You've carried enough, I cashed the check in a Reno casino, wired it to a Cayman trust under a ghost name, and drove back to Ohio in a rented Chevy that smelled like regret. No celebrations. No new handbag, just the quiet thrill of power uncoiling in my veins. For the first time, I wasn't the fixer, the shadow. I was the storm. But Tyler sniffed something out quick. He always did. That boy's nose for weakness was sharper than a bloodhound's. Over Thanksgiving dinner, turkey dry as Dad's jokes, green bean casserole from a can, he cornered me in the kitchen while Mom fluttered around with her wine glass. Heard you got some windfall, sis. Uncle Harlan finally kicked it, his eyes. That same hazel as mine but colder. Like pond ice waiting to crack. I played dumb, stirring the gravy with a wooden spoon that felt like a weapon. Windfall? You been hitting the eggnog early? He laughed. But it didn't reach his eyes. Later, rifling through my phone while I was in the shower, bastard had my passcode since we were teens, he found the email from Gus. Confirmation. Time-stamped. That night, he came to my old bedroom, the one with the faded NSYNC posters peeling at the edges, and laid it out like a poker hand. 11 mil. Eden? And you weren't gonna tell us. Us. As if we were a unit. He paced the shag carpet, hands in his pockets, the picture of aggrieved entitlement. Family shares. Right? I mean, after all we've been through. He'd been through Tyler's charmed life, the full-ride scholarship that fizzled into a string of bar gigs, the fiancé who bolted after his third DUI, the entrepreneurial ventures that were just Ponzi-light scams preying on our high school buddies. I'd bailed him out twice, once with rent when he couch-surfed, once with a lawyer after that bar fight. And now, here he was, flipping the script. Shares? I echoed, sitting on the edge of the bed, the springs creaking like old bones. Like how you shared that promotion at the plant, or the down payment on your truck? He stopped pacing, face twisting into that boyish pout that used to melt Mom. Come on, Eden. Don't be like that. Dad's retiring next year, heart's acting up. Mom's got that lump they ain't talking about. Lies. All of it. I'd seen the clean bill from Dad's checkup. Mom's lump was a cyst. Benign and snipped out months ago. But Tyler wove them like silk, his voice dropping low. Conspiratorial. We're blood. You owe us. Oh. The word hung there, heavy as the snow starting to fall outside. I thought of all the Christmases, the empty drives, the way they'd toast Tyler's latest while I cleared plates in silence. And beneath it, the secret I'd buried deeper than Uncle Harlan's wells, the night of Tyler's senior prom, when he wrapped the family Buick around a tree stoned out of his mind. Dad covered it up, pulled strings with the cops, paid off the ER doc, but it was me who took the fall. I confessed to the crash, claimed I was driving, spent a month in juvie for underage DUI and reckless endangerment. Tyler got a slap on the wrist and a new car for graduation. Family protects family, Dad had said, clapping my shoulder like it was a favor. I'd carried that scar, literally, the seatbelt burn across my ribs for nothing. By dawn, Tyler had his hooks in. Not the money. Not yet, he was too sly for that, but the leverage. Tell you what, he said, leaning against the doorframe, casual as a car salesman. Loan me $50K to get this app off the ground. Sports betting. Legal now in Ohio. Pay you back double in 6 months. His grin was all teeth. I said yes, wired it from a dummy account, and watched him vanish into the ether. promising updates that never came. Weeks blurred into December frost, and the texts dried up. Then, the holiday invites. Family dinner at 6. Don't be late this year. Edie, with a winky emoji from Mom. I drove home on the 23rd. The rental's heater blasting against the chill that had nothing to do with weather. The house looked the same, icicle lights dripping from the eaves. A wreath on the door with a bow bigger than my resentment. But inside, the air crackled. Dad clapped me on the back too hard. Mom's hug lingered like guilt. Tyler wasn't there yet, stuck in traffic from Columbus, she lied smoothly. Dinner was pot roast and small talk, Biden's latest gaffe. The Browns' playoff choke, until the eggnog flowed and Tyler burst in. Snow-dusted and beaming, arms laden with gifts wrapped in dollar store paper. Sis, there you are. He bear-hugged me, whiskey on his breath, and slipped an envelope into my coat pocket when no one was looking. I excused myself to the powder room, locked the door, and tore it open, a single sheet, typed, anonymous. We know about the money. Sign over $5 million, or the truth about the Buick comes out. To the cops. To the press. Your job at the library? Gone. Your life? Over. Postmarked Columbus. Tyler's new pad, courtesy of my loan. Betrayal isn't a thunderclap, it's a slow poison, seeping into your bones until you can't tell thirst from rage. I flushed the note, pocketed the envelope, and rejoined the charade, laughing at Dad's jokes while plotting in the margins of my mind. That night, as they snored through cable reruns of Die Hard, I slipped out to the garage, Uncle Harlan's letter my talisman. Let him stew. Oh. I would. But stewing wasn't enough. Not anymore. The plan crystallized over bad coffee at a Waffle House off I-71. The kind with sticky counters and waitresses named Darlene who call you Han. Revenge. American style, not with a bang, but with the slow squeeze of bureaucracy and bad luck. The kind that leaves you questioning if karma's just a myth. First, the money trail. I hired a hacker kid from a dark web forum, some Berkeley dropout named Jax with a mohawk and a moral code looser than his jeans, to trace Tyler's app. Turns out, it was vaporware. The $50K had vanished into crypto bets on Dogecoin knockoffs and a down payment on a condo in Short North for him and his latest side piece, a yoga instructor half his age. Jax, for a cut of the interest, rerouted the funds, small drips into fake charities, IRS red flags on undeclared income, a paper trail leading straight to Dad's old auto supplier for kickbacks on parts deals long buried. Next, the secrets. I dug. Oh, how I dug FOIA requests on the Buick incident, anonymous tips to the local rag about Mom's pyramid days. Nothing explosive, just enough embers to smoke out the lies. And the fire? That was the crescendo. But not the literal one, not yet. I waited until Christmas Eve, the house aglow with excess, a 12-foot Fraser for groaning under ornaments from Tyler's glory days. A spread of prime rib and pie that could have fed the block. They were 3 eggnogs deep when I arrived, fashionably late, bearing a bottle of Harlan's favorite bourbon, aged, expensive, spiked just enough with ipecac to turn stomachs without killing. To family, I toasted, clinking glasses, and watched them sip, oblivious. Tyler eyed me warily, his flip-flopping charm cracking like cheap veneer. He'd been dodging my calls, the app delayed by investors. Dad droned on about retirement golf, Mom about church renovations, but the air hummed with unspoken accusations. Half an hour in, the ipecac hit. Dad bolted first, Retching into the poinsettia, Mom followed, pale as the snow globe on the mantel. Tyler lasted longest, glaring daggers as he dry-heaved over the sink. "What the fuck?" "Eden," he gasped, wiping his mouth. I smiled, serene as a Midwestern Madonna. "Just a little something to settle the score." "Remember the Buick?" His face cycled through shock, denial, fury, classic Tyler. The chameleon who could cry on cue for traffic tickets. "That was ancient history. You said it was fine." "Fine." As if juvie tattoos faded with time. I leaned in, voice low. "History has a way of repeating, Ty. Especially when it's profitable." That's when I dropped the bomb. Screenshots from Jack's, the crypto ledgers, the IRS liens filing by morning. Dad, staggering back from the bathroom, overheard. "What liens?" "Eden, what have you done?" His voice cracked, the exec facade crumbling into the scared dad he'd never been. "Done." I laughed, bitter as the bourbon. "I've undone all the shit I carried so you could play perfect. The crashes, the scams, the forgotten holidays. This money, it's mine. Harlan saw what you couldn't. I'm not your mule anymore." Mom, curled on the couch with a trash bin, whimpered, "We love you, Eden. We always have. Always." The word was a slap. Tyler lunged then, grabbing my arm, not to hurt, but to plead, his schemer's mask slipping into raw desperation. "Sis, please. The condo's in my name, but it's for us, all of us. I was gonna bring you in." Lies, layered like lasagna. But in his eyes, for a flicker, I saw the boy from our treehouse forts, the one who'd shared his last Snickers when the van left without me. Was it real? Or just another flip? The siren started at 11:47 p.m. Not for the Ipecac, that was just theater, but for the accident I'd orchestrated with a timer and a space heater rigged too close to the dry garland. Jax's handiwork again. Remote activated from my phone in the woods across the street. Flames bloomed slow at first, a glow in the living room window, then roared up the drapes, devouring the tree in a whoosh of pine sap and regret. I watched from the shadows, heart pounding not with guilt, but a twisted liberation. As they stumbled out coughing, Mom in her reindeer sweater, Dad in boxers, Tyler shirtless and screaming my name into the blaze like it could summon me back. Fire trucks wailed in, red lights painting the snow crimson, neighbors gawking from bathrobes. The news vans rolled up by dawn, Hargrove family home gutted in freak, Christmas fire, arson suspected. Tyler, wrapped in a foil blanket, gave a statement to Channel 5. His voice steady for the cameras. "We're just grateful everyone's safe." Must have been faulty wiring. The hero flip. Seamless. But the anonymous tip I'd sent, detailing the Buick, the pyramid, the liens, hit the wires hours later. By Boxing Day, the headlines twisted. Local family's festive nightmare, secrets ignite blaze. I vanished south, to a bungalow in Key West. Harlan had deeded me off books, the Gulf breeze washing away the ash. The money bought silence. Lawyers to quash investigations, PR firms to spin Tyler as the victim. He called once. From a burner. "You win, Eden. But blood don't wash off." Was it threat or truce? I hung up, poured a rum neat, and toasted the horizon. Victory? Or just another layer of the cage? Months bled into the humid blur of a Florida summer, where the air clung like regret and the conch shells whispered secrets to the tide. I told myself it was over. The fire, the fallout, the family fractured like cheap crystal. But revenge, that sly American vice, doesn't end with sirens. It festers, rooting deep in the quiet hours when the ceiling fan ticks like a bomb. Tyler's call had been the first crack, a hairline fracture in my armor, and by July, the fissures spiderwebbed into something uglier, doubt. I'd reinvented myself as Eva Dawn, a freelance editor for indie presses. My days spent in a wicker hammock with a laptop and a view of pastel sunsets. The inheritance funded it all, solar panels on the roof. A therapy dog named Whiskey, who didn't judge. A therapist named Carla, who did. Gently. Closure isn't a checkmate. Eden, she'd say over iced lattes at the pier, her silver bangles clinking like wind chimes. It's forgiving the unforgivable. Or, at least yourself. Forgive? The word tasted like battery acid. I'd carried their sins so long. The weight had warped me, shoulders hunched from diner shifts, a flinch at raised voices, nightmares of empty vans idling in snow. The fire was my exhale, but exhaling leaves you hollow. Tyler, ever the survivor, rose from the ashes like a phoenix on steroids. The insurance payout, $800K for the total loss, vanished into his vortex. A GoFundMe that raked in six figures from sympathetic Midwesterners helped the Hargroves rebuild their Christmas spirit. A podcast deal with some true crime outfit called Heartland Horrors. He spun it masterfully, the neglectful daughter, the vengeful ghost, the fire as cosmic payback. Eden was always the outsider. He crooned in episodes that hit 50K downloads. His voice modulated with just enough gravel to sound authentic. We tried to love her, but some wounds, they just fester. Listeners ate it up. The comments a cesspool of armchair psychology, classic Munchausen by proxy. Bet she started the fire for the inheritance. I listened once, alone with a bottle of Pinot, and hurled my phone at the wall, the screen spiderwebbing like my resolve. Dad and Mom, they retreated to a rental in the next county over. A split-level eyesore with beige carpets and a for sale sign that lingered like a bad cough. Dad took early retirement, his khakis gathering dust in the closet, tinkering with model trains in the garage to drown out the silence. Mom threw herself into online Bible studies, posting verses about prodigal sons on Facebook, tagging Tyler but never me. No calls, no emails, just radio static where family used to be. I told myself it was justice. The scales balanced at last. But Carla's words gnawed. What if the revenge poisoned the wrong well? The twist came in August, sweltering under a heat advisory that turned the Keys into a steam bath. Jax pinged me first, a encrypted DM from his ghost account. Your bro's digging. Hired a PI. Cayman leaks. Babe. Watch your six. Tyler, flipping again from victim to hunter, his schemer's instincts kicking in like a junkie's itch. I doubled down, more lawyers, a name change filed in Monroe County, even a burner life in Miami for decoy's sake. But he was relentless, that Hargrove blood turning him into a bloodhound. Then, the letter arrived, postmarked Cleveland, no return address. Mom's looping script on lavender stationery that smelled faintly of her Clinique powder. Eden. Not dear, not sweetheart. Just the name. Stark as a summons. We know it's you. The fire. The money. The lies. Tyler told us everything after the podcast money dried up. He's lost the condo. The girl says it's your fault. But it's not just him. Your father. The Buick. He was driving that night, Not Tyler. Dad switched seats after the crash. Made you take the blame to protect his job, his reputation. Tyler confessed it all in rehab last month. Pills.
Eden.
He tried to OD after the liens hit. My hands shook, the paper crumpling in my fist. Rehab?
Oth.
The words blurred. A Rorschach of rage and revelation. Dad driving. Not Tyler's weed-fueled joyride, but Richard Hargrove, the teetotaler exec, panicked behind the wheel after one too many at the country club. I'd taken the fall for a ghost story they'd both spun, Tyler too chicken shit to correct it, Mom too loyal to question. And now, this, a plea wrapped in shrapnel. We're selling the house to pay the debts. Tyler's in treatment, court-ordered. Your father wants to turn himself in, but I begged him not to. For the family. Come home.
Eden.
Forgive us. The money. We don't want it. Just you. Forgive. There it was again. That acid word. I burned the letter in the sink, watching the flames dance blue. A microcosm of Christmas Eve. But the poison spread. Carla upped my sessions to twice weekly. Whiskey started sleeping on my chest at night. His snores a lullaby against the what-ifs. What if I'd known? Would I have let Dad rot in jail instead of juvie bars? What if Tyler's confession was just another flip? A ploy to drag me back into the web? September brought the storm. Hurricane Ida's remnants whipping the Keys into frenzy. Palms bending like supplicants. Power out for days. I hunkered in the bungalow with batteries and bourbon. The radio crackling FEMA updates. That's when Tyler showed, not announced, but materializing on my doorstep at midnight. Rain-slicked and gaunt. His quarterback frame whittled to bone. Rehab had stripped him, clean-shaven. Eyes clear but haunted. A duffel at his feet. Eden, he said. No, sis. Just the name.
Raw.
I know this is your bolt hole. Tracked the deed through Harlan's old lawyer. I should have slammed the door. Called the cops. Anything but stand there in my tank top and shorts, the wind howling our sins. But curiosity, or stupidity, held me. What? Ty? Come to beg? Or burn it down? He didn't flinch. Just stepped inside, dripping on the tile, and dropped the bomb. I'm clean. 6 months. And I didn't come for money. I came to say. The podcast? That was me flipping again. Desperate. But the OD?
Real.
Woke up in the ER with Mom praying over me. Dad confessing everything. The Buick. The cover-up, it broke him. He's turning himself in next week. Manslaughter.
They say.
10 to 15. The room tilted. The storm outside mirroring the one in my gut.
Dad.
Confessing. Tyler.
Clean.
It was too neat. Too redemptive. The kind of Hallmark pivot that made you gag. Why tell me? I whispered, sinking onto the couch. Whiskey growling low at my feet. Tyler sat across, elbows on knees, the pose of a man unburdened. Because you deserve the truth. Not forgiveness, fuck that. But closure.
And.
The money. Harlan's letter? He left a codicil. If you ever shared it, it goes to charity. But he said you'd know when to let go. Let go. The words echoed Carla. The tide. The rain lashing the windows. Tyler pulled a flash drive from his pocket, sliding it across the coffee table. Evidence. Dashcam footage from the crash. Dad hid the car's black box.
Timestamps. Audio.
He's pleading guilty. You don't have to carry it anymore. I took it, fingers numb, and for the first time, saw the flip not as betrayal but fracture. Tyler, the antagonist I'd cast, was just another victim of the Hargrove machine, Dad's ambition, Mom's denial, my silence oiling the gears. The revenge? It had divided us. Sure, but not cleanly. I'd torched their world, but in the blaze, glimpsed my own chains. What now? I asked, voice cracking. He shrugged, rain pooling at his feet. Rebuild. Separately. Or not. Your call. He stood, duffel in hand, and paused at the door. Merry Christmas.
Eden.
Late.
But.
From all of us. He left, vanishing into the squall, and I sat there till dawn, the flash drive burning in my palm. Upload it? Bury it? The choice hung, divisive as original sin, no right, no wrong, just the gray American grind of consequence. October unfurled like a reluctant confession, the keys settling into that post-hurricane hush where the air tastes of salt and second chances. I didn't upload the footage, not yet. Instead, I drove north, the rental convertible top down despite the chill. Harlan's bourbon bottle rattling in the trunk like a talisman. The flash drive stayed in my glove box, a Pandora's box humming with what-ifs. Carla called it processing. I called it purgatory. Either way, it pulled me back to Ohio, to the rental house with its sagging gutters and the sold sign finally hammered in. Mom answered the door in a cardigan too big for her frame. Her hair grayer, eyes rimmed red like she'd been crying or carving pumpkins, hard to tell. Eden, she breathed, the name a prayer or a curse, and pulled me into a hug that smelled of mothballs and regret. No questions, no accusations, just that bone-deep maternal clutch, the one I'd craved on all those empty Christmas mornings. Dad was in the kitchen, hunched over a mug of Folgers. His khakis starched, but his shoulders slumped like a man who'd carried one lie too many. Kiddo, he said, voice gravel, not meeting my eyes. Tyler was absent, back in Columbus, sponsoring AA meetings, his podcast shelved for a gig slinging insurance. We didn't talk about the fire. Not at first. It was small plates, turkey tetrazzini from a Costco rotisserie, the Browns' latest implosion, the neighbor's divorce fodder. But the elephant loomed, tusked and trumpeting, until after pie, when Dad pushed his plate away and cleared his throat. I turned myself in Tuesday. Pleaded to vehicular manslaughter. Accessory after 5 years. Probation if I testify clean. His hands trembled on the tablecloth. Veins like rivers on a map. Should have done it 20 years ago.
You.
You were just a kid.
Eden.
I stole that from you. The words landed soft. But they detonated inside, shrapnel of absolution I wasn't ready for. Mom reached for my hand, her rings cool against my skin. We were scared.
The job. The town.
Small-minded folk. But it was wrong. All of it. The forgetting. The covering. Forgetting. The hook that snagged my childhood, now voiced like a sin in confession. I pulled away, not harshly, but enough to breathe. Scared? I did juvie. Dad. For your screw-up. And Tyler. He knew. Dad nodded. Slow. He pieced it together years later. Tried to tell me to come clean, but I shut him down. Golden boy syndrome. A bitter laugh escaped him, cracking the facade. Tyler, the flipper, the schemer, carrying his own guilt, rehab his penance. It reframed him, not saintly but human, a mosaic of our shared fractures. That night, I stayed in my old room, redecorated now with neutral beiges and a guest quilt. But the echoes lingered, posters faded to ghosts, the window overlooking the empty driveway. Sleep evaded me, whiskey curled at my feet, his warmth a anchor. By 3 a.m., I slipped downstairs, the house creaking like an old ship, and found Mom at the kitchen table, a photo album open under the nightlight. "Can't sleep?" she whispered, sliding a seat out. We flipped pages in silence, me at 5, gap-toothed in a Santa hat, Tyler at 10, mid-touchdown, the family portrait from 99. All smiles and studio lighting. "Why'd you forget me?" The question tumbled out, unvarnished. After a faded snapshot of that first Christmas abandonment, the van's taillights red in the snow. Mom's finger traced the edge, tears spotting the laminate. "It wasn't forgetting. Not really. You were so self-contained. Always reading. Dreaming." Tyler was the storm, demanding every spotlight. "We got swept up. Thought you'd be fine. Lazy parenting.
Eden.
Wrapped in love, but still lazy."
Love.
The word, once poison, softened here, contextualized in the album's brutal honesty. Not excuse, but explanation, a divide for the reader. The viewer, monstrous neglect, or merely mortal flaw. Dawn broke with decisions. I wired $1 million to their account anonymous, through Jax's channels for the debts, the down payment on a fresh start. Not forgiveness, but a bridge. Tyler texted coordinates for a coffee shop in Columbus. I met him there, neutral ground with exposed brick and overpriced lattes. He looked good, filler up, eyes steady, sliding the flash drive back across the Formica.
Keep it.
Or don't. Dad's truth is out. Yours is yours. We talked, halting at first, his app as a manic bid for relevance, the podcast a desperate grasp at narrative control. "I flipped on you 'cause I saw myself, the fixer, the forgotten. Couldn't face it. Vulnerability from the golden boy. Controversial as hell. Sympathy for the devil. Or just sibling sleight of hand. The climax replayed in my mind as we parted, not the fire's roar, but this, the choice to rebuild or raise." I drove south again, the convertible's wind whipping confessions from my hair, and stopped at a beachside bar in Marathon, the kind with tiki torches and tourists in flip-flops. There, over conch fritters and a sunset bleeding orange, I met Carla for an impromptu session. "So, the twist," she prompted, her bangles glinting. I pulled the drive, weighed it like a heart on Anubis's scale. "Upload it." And Dad's sentence doubles, media circus. Family shredded. "Bury it." And we all walk scarred but whole. She didn't advise, just listened, the waves crashing judgment. In the end, I chose the gray, redacted version to a victims' rights blog, anonymized, focusing on the cover-up's toll without names. It sparked debates online, justice or mercy, threads exploding on Reddit, rants from armchair lawyers. No winners, just the churn of controversy, dividing readers into camps. I was avenger or abuser, family villain or victim. Tyler called it poetic. Mom sent a card with a verse from Corinthians. Love keeps no record of wrongs. Back in the bungalow, Christmas approached uninvited, strings of lights on the balcony, carols drifting from the yacht club. I hung a single ornament, Harlan's old drill bit wrapped in tinsel, and invited no one. The money, still mine, invested in a scholarship fund for forgotten kids, first-gen college hopefuls from Rust Belt towns. No strings but survival. Whiskey got a new bed, Carla a raise. Jack's a bonus for vanishing acts. Was it happy? Tragic? The ending defies boxes. A Rorschach for the soul. Tyler's clean a year now, sponsoring a kid who reminds him of me, quiet, watchful. Dad's in minimum security, writing letters about model trains and amends. Mom sells houses again, smaller ones, with honest listings. And me, Eden Hargrove, or Eva Dawn, sips rum on the porch, the gulf murmuring that revenge's sweetest fruit is release, not absolution, but the space to breathe free. As the clock strikes midnight on a Christmas no one forgets, I raise my glass to the shadows, to betrayals buried, secrets unearthed, and the endless American debate of who owes whom. Blood don't wash off, Tyler said. But maybe, just maybe, it fades.